You ever notice how, like almost every new car on the road right now just looks absolutely furious?
Oh, yeah. Completely.
I mean, you look in your rearview mirror,
Yeah.
right? And the front grille of whatever SUV is behind you looks like this, I don't know, like a scowling robot that's actively getting ready to just devour your rear bumper.
It's true. It's all very sharp angles and aggressive stances. Pure intimidation, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's wild. But today, we're actually looking at a brand that's suddenly going in the exact opposite direction.
Which is pretty refreshing, honestly.
It really is. We're talking about returning to a delightfully quirky, like highly functional shape from the past, a car that doesn't want to fight you. It just wants to, efficiently get you across town.
Right, because aggression sells, right. We've somehow collectively decided that our daily commuters, the cars we literally just take to buy groceries, need to look like they're preparing for tactical urban warfare.
Yeah, makes no sense. So we're diving into Audi's recently announced A2 e-tron. It's an entry-level compact EV slated for a fall 2026 reveal.
And it's a super fascinating pivot for a premium brand like Audi. I mean, we're seeing a shift from massive, imposing luxury vehicles to something designed specifically for the actual realities of modern urban living.
Definitely. So our mission today is to sift through the official Audi PR announcements, the Autoblog analyses, and this is my favorite part. We're even translating some really intense debates from an Italian automotive forum.
Oh, the forum comments are always where the truth comes out.
Right. We want to find out if this is the car that will finally make premium electric mobility accessible to everyday drivers. We're breaking down what this car is, what it means for the market, and whether it can actually live up to its legendary namesake.
Because that name carries a lot of weight.
It really does. And honestly, it's just such a cool urban little car. I mean, I could finally go out with you if you arrived in this Audi.
Oh, is that what it takes?
I'm joking. I'd go out with you even on a bicycle.
Well, considering the aerodynamic profile of a standard bicycle versus the drag coefficient of the new A2 e-tron, the Audi might actually save us more energy on date night.
I knew you'd find a way to make a date about drag coefficients. You just can't help yourself.
Hey, it's what I do. But I do appreciate the sentiment.
Well, seriously, though, whether you're a massive gearhead who geeks out over automotive architecture, or you're just someone sitting in traffic right now wondering what your next daily commuter should be, we're going to break down everything you need to know about this upcoming release.
And there is a lot to cover.
There is. Okay, let's unpack this, because before we jump into the modern battery specs and the 2027 release dates, we have to talk about that name.
A2?
Yeah, the A2.
Yeah.
Because you really can't understand where Audi is going with this new e-tron without understanding the ghost of the A2 past.
You really can't. I mean, the original Audi A2, which launched way back in 1999, is one of the most fascinating anomalies in automotive history.
Oh, for sure.
This was during the era when the Volkswagen Group was ruled by Ferdinand Piëch. And he was an incredibly ambitious engineer and just a notoriously demanding manager.
Like legendary for it, right?
Oh, absolutely. He was the kind of guy who would write down impossible specifications on a little napkin at dinner and tell his engineers they had a year to figure it out.
Which is terrifying if you work for him.
Right. But under his direction, Audi built a machine that was completely bizarre, but undeniably brilliant.
Bizarre is honestly the perfect word for it. Like, if you look up a picture of the 1999 A2 right now, it looks like this futuristic, blob-like minivan.
It's a very rounded.
Yeah, incredibly rounded, sloping, and it completely prioritizes aerodynamics over any traditional sleek styling. But the engineering underneath that little blob was absolutely wild. It was built with an all-aluminum space frame.
Which was practically unheard of for a subcompact city car.
Wait, really? Unheard of?
Oh, yeah. To give you some context, aluminum space frames were basically reserved for high-end sports cars or massive flagship luxury sedans like the Audi A8.
Oh, okay, wow.
Because aluminum is notoriously difficult to work with. It requires completely different welding techniques than steel. It's super expensive to extract and refine, and stamping it into car panels is just a massive engineering headache.
So putting it on a small city car was just...
It was, financially speaking, borderline madness.
Wow.
But Audi did it anyway to make the A2 ultra lightweight. They were just completely obsessed with efficiency.
Obsessed to the point where they didn't even want the driver messing with the engine.
Yes. The hood.
This is my absolute favorite detail from our sources. The hood of the original A2 literally couldn't be opened by the owner. It was bolted shut.
Just completely sealed off.
Yeah, there was this little service flap that folded down from the front grille, so you could top off your oil and washer fluid, I guess, but the actual hood.
Oh.
Off limits. Only actual Audi mechanics were supposed to take it off.
It was designed to be a perfectly sealed ecosystem of engineering. Piech didn't want consumers tampering with the aerodynamics or the highly tuned internals.
Which is kind of arrogant, but also amazing.
It is, and that obsession culminated in the legendary 1.2 TDI 3L model.
The 3L.
Yeah, it was named the 3L because it was the world's first four-door car to achieve a fuel economy of just 3 liters of diesel per 100 kilometers.
Which is what, like 78 miles per gallon?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
An absolute hypermiler's dream.
It's mind-blowing efficiency, especially for 2001. But, okay, here's my pushback on this new 2026 announcement.
Sure, let's hear it.
Car companies love reviving old names to sell new products, right? It's like when a tech company revives an obscure cult classic gadget, but they just slap the old name on a generic new tablet.
Total marketing gimmick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So is this new A2 e-tron just nostalgia bait? I mean, are they actually keeping the spirit of the original A2, or are they just cashing in on the legacy?
That is the critical question, and it's something the automotive press is watching really closely right now.
I bet.
But according to the statements from Audi CEO Gernot Döllner, this is a highly deliberate nod. He explicitly stated that customers want electric mobility that impresses in everyday life, efficient, compact, and confident. Okay, so they're at least saying the right things.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the new A2 e-tron is carrying forward the original's core mission of urban mobility and radical efficiency. It marks a deliberate shift away from that aggressive sports styling we talked about earlier.
Right, away from the angry robot faces.
Yes, moving toward a clean, functional, and sustainable design. It's about maximizing interior space while minimizing the exterior footprint, which is exactly what the 1999 model tried to do.
So you're saying it's not just them slapping a retro badge on a generic crossover.
No, not at all.
They're actually trying to solve the exact same problem, how to move people efficiently through a dense city, just swapping out that ultra-efficient diesel engine for an electric battery.
Exactly. I mean, the original A2 was arguably just too far ahead of its time.
Yeah, people probably didn't get it in 1999.
They didn't. People in 1999 weren't ready to pay a massive premium for a highly engineered, ultra-efficient bubble car, which is why it didn't sell in massive numbers.
Right. But today, the market for compact electric vehicles, especially in large European cities with strict emission zones, is surging. The environmental and economic realities have finally caught up to Audi's original concept.
That makes a lot of sense. But wait, that obsession with lightweight efficiency is exactly why this 2026 reboot is so puzzling to me.
How so?
Well, if the original A2 superpower was shedding weight using expensive aluminum, how do you revive that legacy using incredibly heavy electric vehicle batteries?
The weight issue. Yeah.
Right. So let's look at the actual hardware they're using to solve this. When this rolls off the line in 2027, what exactly are we getting?
Oh, we actually have some solid, leaked, and confirmed specs to go on.
Oh, good.
First, it's going to be built at Audi's headquarters in Ingolstadt, Germany. That's a major point of pride for them, securing local jobs and delivering electric mobility, quote, made in Germany.
Nice. And how big is it?
Size-wise, it's measuring around 420 centimeters long.
Which means it's effectively replacing both the A1 hatchback and the Q2 crossover in Audi's current lineup, right?
Yeah.
Kind of consolidating them into one highly efficient EV footprint.
Right, exactly. And underneath, it's going to ride on the MEB Plus platform.
The ME Plus to read.
Yeah. Because it's an EV, the battery essentially acts as a flat skateboard beneath the floor, pushing the wheels out to the absolute corners of the car.
Which opens up the interior a ton.
Yes. This allows it to pack either a 60 or 80 kilowatt-hour battery into a very small wheelbase. And the top-end range is projected to be up to 600 kilometers.
Wait, 600 kilometers. That is massive for a city car.
It really is.
Yeah.
It will also support DC fast charging up to 200 kilowatts. You're looking at power outputs ranging from 170 to 340 horsepower.
That's pretty zippy.
Very zippy. Available in either a single-motor rear-wheel drive layout or a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup.
And visually, based on the design sketches and the camouflage prototypes that are like running around out there, it's keeping that upright, slightly minivan-like proportion.
Yeah, the classic blob shape.
It has slim LED matrix headlights, flush door handles to reduce drag, and a direct homage to the 1999 model. That distinctive split rear window with an integrated spoiler.
A really nice touch for the fans.
Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that MEB Plus platform.
Okay, let's do it.
Think of a shared car platform today. less like a generic chassis and more like the foundation of a housing development. Volkswagen, Cupra, and Audi are all essentially building on the same exact foundation.
That's a great analogy.
Right. So VW pours the concrete slab, runs the plumbing, sets up the electrical wiring, meaning they provide the battery placement, the motors, and the underlying software logic. But then Audi buys that plot.
That's a great way to look at it.
But wait, let me push back on this. If Audi is just building a house on Volkswagen's foundation, does sharing a core platform with something like the more mainstream VW ID.3 dilute the premium Audi feel for the buyer?
I hear that a lot.
I mean, aren't you essentially just paying luxury prices for a Volkswagen in a fancy tuxedo?
It's a completely valid concern, and it's one automotive purists bring up constantly.
I'm sure they do.
But the MEB Plus platform is actually a significant evolution, and the whole platform sharing model is fundamentally misunderstood by a lot of people.
How so?
Well, the plus in MEB Plus means it brings new capabilities that previous cars just didn't have. For example, vastly better thermal management for the battery.
Thermal management, like cooling.
Heating and cooling, yeah. In an EV, how you manage the battery temperature dictates how fast it can charge without degrading. The MEB Plus allows the car to precondition its battery temperature as you approach a charging station.
Oh, so it preps itself before you even plug in?
Exactly, which is how it achieves that blazing 200 kilowatt charge speed.
Okay, so the foundation is objectively better than the older stuff.
Yes, significantly. It also introduces full one-pedal driving, which uses the resistance of the electric motor to brake the car the moment you lift off the accelerator.
Which is so nice in traffic.
It entirely changes the fatigue of stop-and-go city commutes because you aren't constantly moving your foot back and forth from the gas to the brake.
Right.
But to address your point about the Volkswagen in a tuxedo, this platform sharing is actually the only way a premium brand can bring a high-quality EV to market faster. And, crucially, more affordably.
Because developing a brand new electric architecture from scratch costs literally billions of dollars.
Precisely. Billions. By utilizing the MEB Plus architecture, Audi saves on those foundational research and development costs. They don't have to reinvent the battery chemistry or the motor winding.
So they spend that money elsewhere.
Exactly. This allows them to position the A2 e-tron as the accessible entry point to the brand. They can take all that saved R&D money and focus their budget on the sound deadening, the suspension geometry, the acoustic glass, the interior interface.
All the stuff that makes it feel fancy.
We're the things that actually make an Audi feel like a premium Audi while relying on a proven, reliable battery skateboard underneath.
Okay, so on paper, in the pristine, highly optimistic world of Audi's PR department, we have this highly efficient, fast-charging, long-range urban EV that beautifully honors its quirky heritage.
Sounds perfect, right?
It does. But let's move out of the PR world and into the messy reality of the consumer market. How are actual drivers reacting to these promises?
To get a real sense of that, we spent time looking at the perspectives sourced from the comments section of the Italian automotive site Al Volante.
Oh, the comment section, always a brave place to go.
Always. But it provides a really unfiltered, ground-level look at how everyday drivers are weighing these new technologies against their daily lives.
And we're going to keep our reporting here strictly impartial. Just for the record, we're not taking sides. We're just looking at the friction points being raised regarding the technology and the practicality of it all.
Absolutely.
Because one of the biggest debates that jumped out from the forum sources is what we can call the weight paradox.
This is a major point of contention, and it goes right back to your earlier point about the original A2's aluminum frame.
Right, because it was famous for being ultra lightweight.
Exactly. But electric vehicles inherently are heavy because of the dense battery packs. Commenters pointed out that the VW ID.3, which shares this DNA, can weigh over 1,700 kilograms, even with a smaller battery.
That's practically double the weight of the original A2.
It is. It's hefty.
So consumers in these forums are rightfully asking, how does a heavy battery platform align with the A2's famous legacy of doing more with less?
It's a fair question.
It creates this weird paradox where to get the 600-kilometer range, you need a heavy battery. But doesn't that weight make the car inherently less efficient in stop-and-go city driving?
It sounds like it should, yes. But this is where the physics of an EV differ drastically from a gas car.
Okay, teach me the physics.
In a traditional combustion engine car, weight is your absolute worst enemy in the city. Every time you brake for a red light, all the kinetic energy of that heavy car is converted into useless heat by the brake pads.
It's wasted energy.
Yep, and then you have to burn more gas to get that heavy mass moving again. But In an EV with regenerative braking, the heavier the car, the more momentum it carries. When you lift off the pedal, the electric motor runs in reverse, basically acting as a generator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it captures that momentum and turns it back into electricity to recharge the battery. So while 1,700 kilograms sounds terrible, the regenerative braking actually recovers a massive portion of that energy.
That makes total sense. You're recycling the weight, essentially.
Basically, yes.
But even with regenerative braking, that leads directly into the other massive debate in the comment section, real-world usability.
The range anxiety.
Exactly. The specs promise a 600-kilometer range, but the commenters are trading real-world stories that highlight the current limitations of EV adoption.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that.
For instance, there's a very vocal segment pointing out the severe drop in EV battery range during freezing winter temperatures.
And their concerns are completely backed by basic battery chemistry.
It's just science.
It is. Lithium-ion batteries simply do not perform as well in the cold. The chemical kinetics slow down, increasing internal resistance. Right. Plus, unlike a gas car that generates a ton of waste heat from the engine block to warm the cabin.
Because engines run hot.
Exactly. An EV has to use battery power to run the electric heater for the passengers. So you're draining the battery just to stay warm.
Right. One commenter mentioned their company uses EVs that manage barely 200 kilometers in the freezing cold before needing a charge. And then they face incredibly long charging times.
Which is super frustrating.
Very. They're arguing that internal combustion engines are just fundamentally more reliable across all weather conditions.
But then you have the counter perspective in the exact same comment thread.
Of course.
Other drivers argue that winter range anxiety is heavily overblown if you understand the technology and use modern DC fast chargers.
They're saying user error, basically.
Kind of. They point out that with the new A2's projected 200 kilowatt charging capability, combined with that thermal preconditioning we talked about earlier, you could recharge the battery to 80% in under half an hour, even in the cold.
That is fast.
And they also highlight the massive economic benefits of charging at home using solar panels, completely bypassing the fluctuating costs of public charging infrastructure and gas stations entirely.
It's the ultimate modern automotive debate playing out in real time.
It really is.
Is the public electric infrastructure actually ready for the masses? Or is EV ownership still a luxury best suited for people with their own private garages and perfect home charging setups?
What's fascinating here is how this single car, this quirky, compact Audi A2 e-tron, acts as a lightning rod for the entire automotive industry's transition.
Yeah, it captures everything.
You have this massive divide. On one side, the engineering specifications are deeply objectively impressive. Fitting a 600-kilometer range and 200-kilowatt fast charging into a 420-centimeter footprint is a marvel of packaging. Audi is truly pushing the boundaries of what a small urban car can do.
But on the other side?
On the other side, automakers still face an uphill battle convincing everyday city folks. The technology is largely there, but the environmental friction...
Like street charging.
Exactly. The lack of reliable street charging for apartment dwellers, the psychological impact of winter weather variables, it all creates a real barrier. The car might be mechanically perfect for the city, but the city it has to drive in isn't perfect yet.
So what does this all mean? We're looking at a car that's trying to bridge the gap between early EV adopters and the everyday mass market.
Right.
It brings up a question for you, listening right now. What stands out to you? When you look at your own daily life, are you swayed by the promise of a massive 600-kilometer range, the environmental benefits, and the convenience of a modern, tech-forward interior?
It's a tempting package.
It is. Or do the real-world concerns of those forum commenters, the inherent weight of the batteries, the winter range drops, and the reliance on public chargers resonate more deeply with your daily commute?
It really is the ultimate litmus test for where we are in the EV transition right now. The A2 e-tron is Audi betting hundreds of millions of dollars that by 2027, the public infrastructure and the consumer mindset will finally align with the technology they're producing.
So to briefly recap our journey today, the A2 e-tron represents a fascinating collision of Audi's quirky, over-engineered past and its high-volume electric future.
A perfect summary.
It's a compact, highly efficient city car that aims to democratize luxury EVs, making the entry point to the brand more modern and relevant for a whole new generation of drivers.
It proves that as we move deeper into the electric age, Efficiency and aerodynamics are once again dictating design.
Which I love.
Yeah, the physics of range are forcing automakers to finally move away from those aggressive, oversized shapes we started the show talking about
Yeah.
and return to smarter, much more functional packaging.
Which leaves us with a really fun, provocative thought to build on before we go.
Oh, I like these.
We talk about how flexible EV skateboard platforms, like the MEB plus M&H, package the battery and motors completely flat beneath the floor, right?
Right.
Because they don't require massive engine bays in the front or bulky exhaust tunnels running through the middle of the cabin, this architectural freedom allows car designers to get incredibly weird and experimental with body shapes again.
Which is the best part of the EV transition.
So if the strange blob-like, ahead of its time 1999 A2 is getting an electric resurrection, what other bizarre, forgotten, or completely misunderstood cars from automotive history are perfectly primed for an electric second life?
Oh man, that's a question that could spark endless debates for car enthusiasts. I mean, without the constraints of a combustion engine, the possibilities for reimagining the weirdest designs of the past are suddenly wide open.
I am already mentally putting a flat EV battery into some truly ridiculous 90s hatchbacks.
I can only imagine.
Thank you so much for joining us and exploring this with us. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen, learn, and dive deep into the future of the road with us. Until next time, keep questioning the world around you.